On this video, we're going to go to the meetup on the Mohican.
Come and join us. Hey, welcome back. Today we are on our way to the meetup at the Mohican at Mohican Wilderness Campground in Loudonville, I'm not sure if that's pronounced right, Ohio. And we boondocked last night at in Fair Lawn, Ohio.
And we went to the Cuyahoga National Park.
We'll put a link to that video up here. We tried to see as many sites as we could in 2 hours.
After the 2 hours, we started right out to get to the Mohican.
Yeah, we were hooking up. We'd gotten back. It was really super hot and humid. Dark clouds came in as we were getting ready to get hooked up, so we're rushing to get hooked up.
And it rained on our way there for a bit, quite a bit.
Yeah, a little bit of rain here and there. So we got to the Mohican campground. We followed the directions that we were given.
Yeah, everything was put together really well, right to the directions on how to get there without having any issues.
This meetup wasn't a YouTube meetup or anything like this. This is actually a meetup that the campground does. This is their second annual.
There was a number of YouTube channels there at the meetup.
Yeah. It's originally organized with the help of it was the idea of a YouTuber that work camps at the Mohican to do this, and it was fun. We had a good time. We met a lot of people that weren't YouTubers there. Right. Some of them had meetup groups. Some of them had Facebook pages. So we got to the Mohican and we checked in.
We got to meet Caribou Dave.
Yeah.
All I know is people better subscribe to Caribou Dave Adventures.
Well, we've been subscribed to Caribou Dave for quite a while, but
what a goober that guy is.
way quick, he was in the office.
Yeah, and very nice check-in area. Nice little store they have there.
Everything was really smooth. We pulled in, checked in, and then we were able to go into the campground right through it. So everything worked out really good with that also.
Mm-hmm. We love the campground. The campground is awesome.
Yeah, it was very nice. I think it was set up really nice. From where we were located, we were right close to the river itself.
Yeah, we had a creekside, riverside site, they call it.
Right.
Because of all the rain,
the river was pretty high.
The river was pretty high and pretty muddy, I guess. I guess it's pretty clear from what people were saying, is it's usually clear. So we got in and we checked in and got situated a little bit with the campground, and then just kind of relaxed.
In our haste for checking in, we didn't get our participant bag for
our goodie bag
from the campground for the
being
meetup.
Part of the meetup.
And John from the Shrags brought it down.
More camping with the Shrags.
He stopped in and brought it to us.
And his little motorcycle.
Little scooter. But yeah, so we were able to get it, and we had a bunch of little goodies in there, and along with that came a page with the scavenger hunt that we could go and do. Which is
a really great idea. You got to see a lot of the campground and a lot of the sites and see what was going on.
You got to learn about the campground,
right,
and
learn how the campground came about. And then Friday we got up, and when we were pulling into the road for where the Mohican is, there was a store, farmer's market, Amish market there that looked really neat. So we were gonna go to that on Friday, and then we planned on going to the Mohican State Park. Good morning, everybody.
Today's day 2 of our Ohio vacation. We're
checked in yesterday, had a relaxing night at the camper. And
all right, we're at the Mohican Wilderness, camped out there right now. We're spending the morning at Mohican State Forest, and we're at the overlook right now, starting our day.
Me sniff. So we left the overlook.
And we stopped at the fire tower.
Yeah.
And
Took a couple pictures there. Check that out.
the fire tower is similar to the fire towers where we go locally to
About the same
Allegheny State Park.
size, yeah.
About the same size, and
They don't let you walk up it anymore. They have it blocked off.
it's always good to see the signs and read them and learn the history of the area that you're in right at that time. We continued on from there.
Yeah, and there was a hike we were going to do to Lions Falls. There's a big falls and a little falls. You know, we had this trip. I spent so much time planning this trip out and trying to fit in as much stuff as we could.
She always figures everything out to the minute.
To a short
as
period
soon as
of time.
as soon as there's a little jag in that time frame, it kind of throws things off a little bit.
So yeah, we went to the Lions Falls Trail, and there's a covered bridge there.
And when we got there, the storm was brewing and it was getting ready to downpour.
Yeah.
So we chose not to go on the trail to that night, because we were going to be heading back to the camp for the meet and greet.
So we apologized to Where the Roberts
They love the
for
waterfalls.
not having another waterfalls for them, but stay tuned. We might have a couple in a couple upcoming videos.
But we got back and to get all situated and ready to go to the meet and greet, and we had a knock on our door, and we got to meet Gary Hahn, who is a subscriber of ours. We met him on a live stream at one time and started chatting and talked about the meetup, and Gary's got from the area, so he was giving us ideas of places to go and put things to see, and we told him that he should show up at the meetup, and he did, and he got to meet a bunch of other people and made a lot of friendships and stuff like that, and we're really happy that worked out like
And
that.
now he's organizing his own trip to Maine. And everybody's going along
Everybody's
with
going to follow him to Maine.
Everybody's following Gary to Maine. So that was fun. And the meet and greet was a good time.
At the meet and greet, they had different games. They had Jenga, and they had what was the frisbee, cornhole, and the frisbee.
Knock the cups off the frisbee.
I'm not sure what that game was called.
I don't know. But I like the kids' game that they were doing before that. They were taking the poles and flinging the cups as far as they could go. So then Saturday morning. So they did open up the canoe and kayaking and tubing on the Mohican because the water level was down. They didn't have it on Friday because the water level was too high.
Right. And
so they were running a special.
They ran a special for a couple hours in the morning for the people that were a part of the meetup, so that they could
get a discounted price for the canoe or kayaking, and you could go 5 or 10 miles.
And thank God we chose 5 miles instead of going the whole 10.
So they had canoes,
And
kayaks, and they had tubes.
And we have our own kayaks, and we do a lot of kayaking.
We used to have a canoe too, so we had done that before,
Right.
and we thought, heck, tubing sounds kind of fun. You want a tube? Yeah,
let's do it.
Tube.
Let's tube. That
Here's
sounds
some
like
advice.
a great idea.
Here's some advice. Don't go 5 miles tubing.
Unless you're there for a whole day and you enjoy a whole bunch of people together. And
Right, if you had
tubing.
10 people and they asked us if we wanted rope to put the tubes together, but we said no. And, we used to tube down the Niagara River, and,
and
that was,
that's a serious river, the
a
Niagara River.
serious flowing river, so you hop in and 10 minutes later you're down the river already. And so I kind of envisioned that you sit in the tube and you just kind of float along and just keep floating along. Yeah, it wasn't anything like that. it was the tubing experience from HE double hockey sticks, because I can't say that word.
Well, we launched with a bunch of the people from the meetup,
And that was the last we saw.
and they were gone.
We were in the tube, so I got in my tube and I sat down in the tube.
And
You know, like you normally probably would, with your feet hanging over the edge.
and there's times when the river is really deep, and there's times where the river is really shallow.
And again, people said that the river's mostly shallow, that you can always touch the bottom. They don't make you wear a life jacket in the tubes. We had ours on because we had them with us anyway. But it's flowing, but it's not always flowing. So you get to where there's an area where it's deeper, and it just kind of sets there. And if you don't get into the curve of the river where there's the flow, you're kind of just meander down. And I felt, at one point I said to Ron, I said, I feel like I know how the people felt on the Titanic, because I was hanging on to the inside of the tube. My head was barely above water. I couldn't touch the bottom anymore because it was too deep, and I'm losing my grip, and I didn't want to like go under and stuff like that on the inside of the tube. And I'm just hanging on and hoping I get to where I can touch the water soon. I'm like, I love you, Jack.
Well, we did eventually make it. We made it the 5 miles and to the pickup spot.
Yeah, I don't know if but yeah.
Yeah, once you got to where the river was flowing really fast and it got shallow, you were getting pretty much, you were going along and you were butt banging or knee banging along the way, whichever you happen to be doing. I'm a pretty big target floating down the river on a tube, but I got run over by 2 kids in a canoe. They didn't see me for some reason or another, and they ran me over in the canoe. And that was all well and good. I got my bearings and everything all straightened back out, and we were continuing down. And then another couple kids kind of ran me up onto a bank. Well, they were coming down in the canoes, but we made it.
It was an experience.
We made it.
We survived.
And
we were gone a lot longer than I wanted to be gone, so I was a little worried about my mom because, you know.
we got back, and when we got back, we saw people that launched with us, and they were like, "Oh, we've been back for over an hour and a half." So it was a lot.
Chuck and CHERIE were, behind us cooking their beans and filming their video already, and we were just heading back.
We were just getting back. But
it was fun, but
I
recommend kayaks or canoes.
Yeah, recommend kayaks or canoes unless you decide that's what you want to do.
Or you just want to do a mile run.
If you want to float with a whole group of people and enjoy the whole entire time and spend as much time as you possibly can. We were kind of surprised that it took as long as it did in the tubes to get back. And then once we got back, we had to get everything all situated for the
yeah, we were having a potluck dinner,
and we had
to make our stuff.
We had to make our dish to pass to get that done and all situated.
And then I was starting to get a little concerned about my mom, because we had bought tomatoes. We had gone out in the morning when we came back from the state park, and we had stopped at that Amish place. We got a strawberry pie, and we got tomatoes and stuff, and I made her tomato sandwiches because that's one of her favorites, and she ate that, but her appetite was dwindling, and her energy was dwindling.
And she spent a lot of time. She was there the whole entire time, but she didn't get out and meet anybody or anything like that.
We wanted her to go to the potluck, but she had no interest in doing that.
So there was a little bit of time. We didn't get to spend as much time out visiting with people as that we normally would either, because we spent time with her in the motorhome.
Right.
The potluck dinner was fantastic. The food that people brought was was really good.
And check out these cute cookies.
Yeah, and all the cookies were really good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
They tasted really good too. And they were.
During the potluck, that's when they gave out the door prizes for the people who had the most points from the.
Wait, you got a ticket for the right answer, so they put the tickets in a thing and pulled it. So if Ron had actually done it right, we would have had more tickets. But
we would have had more tickets, but that's all right.
We'll survive.
We had fun.
So after the potluck was the bonfire.
The bonfire was really nice set up. Everybody sitting around chatting and discussing things and where they've been, where they're going, things about their channels, and all of that kind of stuff that YouTube people kind of venture to as soon as they get together, talking about analytics and all of that kind of stuff. That night after the bonfire, we didn't stay for the whole length of the bonfire. We went back to the motorhome.
No, we were already getting a little concerned about my mom not eating, her appetite, the way she looked. You know, I planned and planned and planned and planned and planned and planned some more for this as much as I could.
And
But
then,
as much as you plan, things still don't go right. You know, so as much as we planned, and then doing the shakedown trip to see how things were.
and she did really good on that trip that
Yeah.
we went.
You
the
know,
week
other
before.
than the bed that was a little much of an issue getting in and out of with the foam, and then we ended up switching it to, we put her regular mattress in there for the regular trip. And so we got to the first place that we boondocked, and she was still a little unsturdy getting in and out of that with her mattress on it. So we didn't want her to have any unsturdiness, obviously, and you know, risk a fall during the night or anything like that.
And we switched her bed, and had her stay in our bed.
Yeah, we put her in the queen size bed and put her potty chair back there, and I slept on the dinette, and Ron slept
In the recliner.
in the recliner, which I'm glad we at least upgraded our recliners. But
So,
I guess now it's kind of bad. We could have had the pull-out couch from before.
but the recliners were perfectly comfortable. But
You know, so I planned with the TV because, you know, my mom needs something to sit there and do for 12 hours. And, you know, I planned for her to watch TV, and we went out and we got a MiFi, but obviously there was no internet at the Mohican, so that didn't work. I had downloaded stuff, but for some reason I couldn't even get the apps if you couldn't get the apps to open, they couldn't watch the stuff I had downloaded. Then we had a DVD player, and we had lots of DVDs.
the
You know, they were playing okay, and then all of a sudden the DVDs would start skipping, and they weren't working. And these were brand new DVDs, and so DVD player stopped working. But we had our desktop with us, so my desktop computer has a CD drive, so I put the DVDs in there. We're playing them in there, and then all of a sudden they were doing fine, and then all of a sudden the volume wouldn't work anymore on it. You couldn't get any sound out of it. So it was just one thing after another with that, you know, we had left and gone to, I think it was the potluck dinner, and I had put in a DVD of The Big Bang Theory, and it ended before we got back, and then it goes back to the main screen like it normally does on a DVD, and then it was just playing that little short clip for 15 seconds, and the volume was turned way up. Plan, but, you know, nothing went as planned. And we decided after we came back from the bonfire, when I put my mom to bed, I was severely concerned about her that night because she was almost out of it.
She was disoriented.
She seemed disoriented. She was trying to say a word and she couldn't say a word. She wasn't having a stroke or anything like that, 'cause it was different. You know, I could tell it wasn't a stroke. I mean, we've experienced those before. so we knew what to look on for that. So I knew it wasn't something like that, but she was just out of it. I don't know if it was, you know, I mean, my mom has short-term memory loss, so it's being disoriented. I don't know what it was, but things didn't go as planned. So, I mean,
So our plans originally were to travel into Indiana from the Mohican.
yeah, we had reservations at a state park down across from Kentucky.
But we decided instead of driving farther away from home
Yeah,
base,
it would have been a 5-hour drive.
we'd have been 5 hours farther away, or we drive the same 5 hours and get back to her house.
Right.
And
So we ended up doing that. And on our way back, we said, well, we could still, even if we're close to home, we could try to find, you know, another campground there, like a KOA or something like that with full hookups, and keep mom with us, but at least we're closer to home, so if we need to
Right.
do something. I contacted my family and they made arrangements to take mom for the rest of the week so that Ron and I could continue our vacation and go on.
So
So
that's what we did is we continued on and we headed into New York, and you'll see those videos coming up soon. We want to thank the campground, the Mohican Wilderness. We also like to thank Caribou Dave, and also S'more Camping with the Shrags for everything they did to organize this meetup. And
they're going to have it again next year. They've already got the spaces reserved, so you can call the campground and reserve a spot.
I think it was a very great time, and I think it was very well run.
And it's a really nice campground.
I highly recommend that if it's something, a meetup is something that you want to try, that it's one that you probably should attend. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up, and the more likes that we get, the more this video gets sent out for people to see.
Come on, we're so likable, aren't we?
Oh, you want to see Bella again? No. But
Yeah, Bella's the star of the show.
leave us a comment or a question, and maybe you're as bored as she is.